complete write-off of a species, then how dare you make me care about that?
Oh my god, this is amazing! You really had no idea they were live streaming?
No. Obviously, if I'd been privy to that little tidbit, I might have conducted myself in a slightly different manner.
Oh, don't worry so much, Key. No one cares about your adorable little freakout. They're all too busy being in awe that you can hold two swords at the same time.
Here's the chosen one, as it was foretold by the scrolls.
Yeah, laugh it up. So what's in the box, Pinky? You running through dumpsters for your next masterpiece?
Well, funny you should ask. This box is everything I was able to salvage from my shop after your friend Asuna.
Hey, Kirito! The commander wants to...
Ah! I didn't say anything, I swear!
Wait for me! I know a shortcut!
So, you were saying?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rolling 20s. We are the show that's out in Vegas to do something wild and crazy. We're gonna ding-dong ditch 3 houses. I am Jeremy.
Steve. And Jesse.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, and on Tumblr. Follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The music you heard at the beginning of the show is by Machinae Supremacy. You can find more of their discography for free download at machinaesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard is episode 9 of the SAO Abridged parody. You can find more of their videos online at youtube.com. We are sitting...
At youtube.com.
Yeah, at youtube.com. I said that. We are sitting here after the first night of Great American Comic Con is through. It has... I'll say it's been busier for me than for you two.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see the outside of 4 walls for about 7 hours solid. So I am beat. I have a bit of a headache. How are you two doing?
Tired?
I spent all that time playing Final Fantasy 15, and now I'm feeling somewhat brain dead.
Because you play Final Fantasy?
No, just staring at a monitor, I don't know.
Okay, I'll go with because you were playing Final Fantasy then. We do have a little bit of news during over this week before we get into the actual talk of the convention, so we'll just get right into it with Marvel Media News, talking about Marvel properties that are headed everywhere about the comic book pages. Doctor Strange has hit a milestone. It is now the highest-grossing solo film Marvel has produced.
Wow.
Really?
It surpassed even the original Iron Man. As of this past November 28th, it had a total worldwide box office of $615.9 million. To put that in context, Iron Man 2 is the next closest. It stopped at $623.9 million. The original Iron Man film was only $585 million.
Huh.
So there is an undisputed king of solo movies right now. And it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
Well, he did do a very good job in the movie.
He did. We'll talk next week about the Doctor Strange film. We put that off long enough.
All right.
Also, the Black Panther has added a very well-known actress to its cast. Angela Bassett's been cast in a key role, as they put it.
Okay.
She is going to play the mother of the Black Panther.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
She's been cast as the character known as Ramonda. Ramonda is the mother of T'Challa. She is his stepmother, though she raised him with King T'Chaka. That was after the death of T'Chaka's first wife, Naomi. So, man, I remember when like A-listers on Marvel films were rare. Now it seems like they're trying to beat them off with a stick.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going, what? My childhood? I can play? Yes!
Well, in addition, a story that just came out a couple days ago in regards to Spider-Man Homecoming, the Tom Holland movie that comes out next July. It seems like we just saw this guy. According to somebody who identifies himself on Twitter as Ryan Penagos, Spider-Man's going to get an upgrade somewhere during Spider-Man Homecoming via a package delivered by Happy Hogan. Tony Stark has a present for the kid.
So, Iron Spider?
Maybe.
No.
According to the tweets he put out, though, this had to do with Tony Stark developing a simple device that added onto his web shooters that allowed him to create web gliders.
Oh, now doing the weird web things he's been doing.
Not parachutes, under-the-arm web gliders. It's something to help him keep up with the Vulture, supposedly.
Oh, like a squirrel suit.
Yes.
Got it.
So maybe he'll actually get the underarm webs that were in like the Steve Ditko versions of Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I take that with a grain of salt right now. It came from a Twitter account and hasn't been verified as of yet.
Right.
But it seems awfully specific. Fox is moving forward, apparently, with its plans for its Marvel-owned properties, either X-Men, Fantastic Four, or both. They've added 2 mystery projects. One November 2nd, 2018, and February 14th, 2019. They have not announced what
Really? They have one coming out on Valentine's Day?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you feeling the love yet?
No.
It might be running down your leg.
I don't know. I will likely be camping.
I couldn't say. However, it is noted that the last time that Fox had a Valentine's Day release, that was a little movie that did well for them called Deadpool.
Oh, that's true.
So it may be the sequel we've been hearing about for the past, 2 months now? 3 months?
Do they have a stable cast?
The cast isn't a problem right now. They need a director.
Yeah. And that's coming out next year?
No, 2019.
Oh,
If
19.
that's the suspicion. Again, they haven't titled what films are coming out on these dates, but there's an unspecified February 14th, 2019 film. It's I think you're worried about the November 2nd one, which is still almost 2 years away. However, we did talk last week, while you were gone, Steve, about the minor collaboration between Fox and Marvel. In exchange for giving Fox the ability to change the powers of Negasonic Teenage Warhead for Deadpool, Marvel was allowed to use the film rights to Ego for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
The rights to Ego were tied up with the Fantastic Four license.
Yep.
So that made people wonder, are we actually seeing a thaw between the two companies? Could we actually see one unified universe? Well, according to the head of Marvel movies, Kevin Feige, hell to the no.
Yeah, I didn't figure.
He told Variety recently in response to the proposition, quote, "It's an impossibility at this juncture. We certainly have enough films to keep us busy for a number of lifetimes," unquote. I would like to think that's him posturing, just hoping that Fox will sweat it out and give him a decent price, but at the same time, it's true. He is just busy. He has a lot to do. And in that vein, one of the projects apparently has had a major shift. The Inhumans are no longer planned for a film. They're now planned for an IMAX scale TV series.
Okay.
IMAX scale.
Yeah, the series would be an 8-part Inhuman series filmed in IMAX that will go to debut September 4th of 2017.
Okay, so yeah, next year.
Yes. The first 2 episodes will run back-to-back on IMAX screens for 2 weeks. And then afterwards, the remaining episodes will air on ABC in sequential order.
Okay.
All right.
Reportedly, IMAX is paying the funding for the first 2 episodes as well, which will include fight scenes staged on the moon.
Oh.
Well, people keep forgetting before a lot of the changes the Inhumans had, they were primarily based in the blue area of the moon.
I knew the blue area moon existed. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, they were based on the moon. They were largely separated from most of Marvel Comics.
Huh.
The only interactions they had were very light, and they usually had to do with Crystal and whoever she was seeing at the time.
Right. Like the Human Torch.
And
Or
Quicksilver.
Iceman.
She married Quicksilver.
Really?
Yeah, they have a kid.
Huh.
Luna is her name. She underwent Terrigenesis. She's a precog. I know, nerding up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll talk about the DC media news we have, the other major company, their multimedia properties coming. Nothing about movies for Warner Brothers and DC.
Even Wonder Woman?
Nothing, not a thing.
Huh.
I've been looking. But they do have a little bit of information on the CW series Supergirl, which just finished its weird crossover this past week.
Yeah, not thrilled with it.
I didn't get what I hoped from it. I really didn't. And I watched every episode, even of the series I didn't like. And if you don't like a particular series, you won't like that particular part of the crossover. I'll say that freely.
You tried more than I did.
However, apparently, they've decided to take one of Superman's worst enemies and throw him right at televised Supergirl. Melissa Benoist is going to meet in a 2-part episode Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Oh.
Whoa, wow, okay.
Do you know what that name means?
No.
Mr. Mxyzptlk comes from the 4th dimension.
Yeah.
He has ultimate reality warping powers. If he does something, it changes.
Yeah, no, I understand who the character is.
Okay. It's not the first time Mr. Mxyzptlk will appear in live action. Versions of the character have appeared in The Adventures of Superboy, Lois and Clark, and Smallville.
Really? He was in Lois and Clark?
Yes. It's probably going to be the biggest profile for the character because most of the other series... Well, Smallville did well critically, but still, it's like most people aren't aware this character appeared in any of those series. Whatever episode he was in, I guess, just didn't go over well.
Huh.
So, we'll have to see. And then a debut date has been named for Justice League Action, the new show coming to the CW.
Okay.
We've heard about this for months now. It almost looks like a fusion between the first Teen Titans cartoon and
Superhero Girls?
maybe
Or the Batman?
Probably the Batman. There will be a 4-part special event titled Shazam Slam on December 16th.
Okay.
Which sounds like either a nasty meal at Denny's or a horrible stage show. But apparently in Shazam Slam, Black Adam fights Batman on the Rock of Eternity and unleashes Djinn, determined to turn the Earth back to a pre-human volcanic state.
Oh,
Batman doesn't stand a chance against Black Adam.
I would say not. You know, unlike Superman, Black Adam and Shazam don't have very clear-cut weaknesses. They're more generalistic. So I don't know how that's supposed to work.
Keep his mouth shut.
Okay, well, Batman is going to be possessed and turns into a flying bat monster laying waste to the Hall of Justice, with only Superman capable of taking the fight to this new bat monster. And the Justice League, with the help of Shazam and the Wizard of the Rock of Eternity, Merlin, at least I think that was... No, it's not Merlin. He has some fancy name. They have to hunt down East Djinn in order to save the world from destruction. So once again, Batman has messed things up.
The D in Jim is silent.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd let you know.
I know, I'm just saying it phonetically. But it doesn't sound like my kind of cartoon.
I'll watch it. I'll check it out.
I probably won't. No, I won't.
You don't watch any TV.
Too busy playing Final Fantasy.
And losing brain cells.
Yep.
Well, we have general media news, and that's nerdy properties that are not Marvel or DC related. There's finally been some casting announcements for Star Trek Discovery, assuming it ever actually gets made.
Okay.
Michelle Yeoh has been cast as the captain of the ship.
Interesting.
She's a long-standing martial arts star from like the 80s, man.
Yep.
She's one of the first women that come to mind when I think of women who kick ass. And when I say that, I mean chronologically.
She was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that's correct.
Yeah, she was also in the third Mummy film.
I never saw that.
Yeah, she was in the second Kung Fu Panda film.
That's who?
She was the goat, the seer.
Oh, that was her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's also been in a few Jackie Chan films.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, definitely more than one. Doug Jones has also been cast in it. He's usually known for his motion capture work. He's going to play Lieutenant Saru, a science officer and a member of an unseen alien race.
So he'd still be motion captured.
No, he's going to be in front of the camera for this one.
Oh.
Why would you be motion captured when you can just put a prosthetic on his face?
Yeah, now that I think about it.
But he is also the guy who's played Abe Sapien in 2 Hellboy films and the Silver Surfer in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Huh.
Okay.
He did the physical work for all of that.
Gotcha.
Michelle Yeoh's going to play Captain Giorgio of the USS Shenzo. And Anthony Rapp, who's known on Broadway as part of the current run of Rent, is going to play Lieutenant Stamets, sorry. He's going to be a science officer who specializes in extraterrestrial fungus.
Okay.
Well, fungus has multiple uses on this planet. Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of it on other planets could be. But Stamets will be the first official gay character in Star Trek history.
Okay.
Alright.
This show is actually supposed to debut on CBS Access, according to all this, in May of 2017. Hopefully they're working on it like right now.
May 2017?
May 2017.
Yeah, they really need to work on that one.
Yeah. Well, Legendary Studios has picked up the TV and movie rights to Dune.
I have yet to see that.
Which one? There's been multiple.
Any.
I'm a fan of both.
Well, Frank Herbert's sci-fi epic is once again being eyed for live action. The Legendary purchased the rights directly from the author's estate for the film and television.
Oh.
So are they remaking Dune, or are they skipping to Children of Dune, or...
No, they're telling the original story of Dune. Paul Atreides and his rebellion to restore his family's control of Arrakis.
Alright.
So there was David Lynch's 1984 film, then a 2000 sci-fi miniseries.
Which was really good. Especially because they had Patrick Stewart as Gurney Halleck.
That was the 1984 movie. Not the 2000 one.
No. The 2000 one had Patrick Stewart.
Gurney Halleck? That was the 1984 film, unless he was recast.
Okay.
That was, yeah. Snowpiercer is also being turned into a TV show.
Okay.
It's based on Bong Joon-ho's 2013 film. TNT just ordered an hour-long pilot based on the movie, which was originally a comic book. It's a French graphic novel.
Never heard.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be set a few years in the future. The Earth is frozen and the remaining survivors live on a speeding train that races around the world. But the train is arranged by class status. Those of high class are in the front, those of low class are in the back.
That sounds about something stupid like we would do.
Yeah. And, of course, the further you are from the engine, the cooler it gets, generally. So it's just a pilot order right now. There's no announcement as to a full series date. Parker Posey has been cast as Dr. Smith in the new Lost in Space series. They're making a new series based on a classic sci-fi TV show from the 60s.
Very classic.
Dr. Smith was probably the biggest troublemaker on the show.
Yeah, he was the asshole.
Yeah, he was a stowaway on the ship that after it got lost in space, they found him, and he became very demanding on their time.
Oh.
He was a pretentious, whiny character.
If you saw the remake movie, he was the bad guy.
Right, okay.
Well, I mean, in the show, he was also the one who sabotaged their ship, but he just ended up on it by accident. And, wow, Warner Brothers has ordered another film, supposedly, based on a graphic novel, and they want Tom Hiddleston to star in Hard Boiled. It's not what you're thinking of. According to Deadline, it's supposed to be it's a deal that hasn't been signed yet, but the studio's already eyed Hiddleston to star, as well as Ben Wheatley to write and direct. It's based on a 3-issue miniseries featuring an investigator, his name is Carl Seltz, who realizes he's actually a homicidal cyborg fronting a rebellion for enslaved robots against humanity.
Wait, what?
Right.
He found out he's a cyborg.
So, Total Recall. Gotcha.
More like Terminator. Except it just wasn't aware it was a robot in the beginning.
So, Salvation.
Maybe Genesis. I don't know. This isn't the first time this series has been optioned, though. There have been attempts at this since a 2001 attempt by Warner Brothers with David Fincher directing and Nick Cage in the starring role. That would have been awful. And last up in general media news, there's a new Code Geass anime coming.
I heard
Really?
about that. I am
Yep.
shocked.
There will be a continuation in the form of a new series, Le Louche of the Resurrection, which will take place after the original anime's ending.
Didn't he die at the end?
He supposedly did, but it was already established in the series that body jumpers exist.
Oh, well. I only watched the first season.
The second season was amazing.
I,
News arrived by way of a Code Geass event celebrating the 10th anniversary of the franchise.
sure take their time with the next season. Almost like Young Justice.
Maybe they were too busy making new Teen Titans Go episodes.
That's an awful thing to do.
And I know. From there, we have Marvel comic news. We'll talk about Marvel properties that will end up on comic book pages soon. The Civil War event is finally drawing to a close. There's 2 issues left in the story.
Okay.
We're up to issue 7 out of 9. Word is, though, that issue number 8 of the main series will have 32 pages done by the original series artist, David Marquez, and 8 additional pages. It's supposed to be a top-secret interior sequence done by 8 artists.
Dude.
So each artist gets a page?
Sounds like it. The artists are Isad Ribic, Lenil Yu, Adam Kubert, Alan Davis, Mark Bagley, Marco Rudy, and Daniel Acuna. That's a very wide-ranging crew of artists.
Yeah.
I don't know all of them, but the ones I do know aren't even similar. Especially Alan Davis. That's the guy who did the original Excaliburs.
Okay.
I wonder what they're after in this. And we've heard about this new Marvel event that's coming like right after Civil War, Monsters Unleashed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Supposedly, there is one kid who's the cause of Monsters Unleashed.
Who?
He's already been seen in issue 3, of the current Hulk series, the Totally Awesome Hulk.
Uh-huh.
They call him Kid Kaiju. And he has an unusual ability. He has no central power of his own, but any monster he pictures in his mind and draws, he summons.
Oh.
In issue 3 of Totally Awesome Hulk, he drew a picture of a dragon and Feng Feng Foom came a-running.
Whoa.
Yeah. And supposedly, because of his abilities, a lot of Marvel monsters will be coming very quickly, as well as some brand new ones no one's ever heard of.
Okay.
That's a frightening power to give a kid. I mean, he doesn't look any older than 12.
Proteus?
I'm just thinking puberty.
Katie Kabine.
Well, one of the Civil War II tie-ins, the Civil War II Coda, it's been delayed. It's supposed to be a Spider-Man-centric issue. Both Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and Civil War II Oath have been delayed by several weeks. Spider-Man 23 Amazing Spider-Man 23 and Spider-Man 12 were supposed to come out January 4th. They've been pushed to January 18th, respectively. Civil War II, The Oath, was supposed to come out October 26th, and it's been pushed back to January 25th. Apparently, though, Civil War II, The Oath, they actually have a reason for that. It's been pushed back simply because the end of Civil War went back to January.
Right.
Oh.
So they needed the time. Civil War II number 8 is supposed to come out December 28th. So hopefully this will be ending soon. The new Ghost Rider series is coming out. It came out this past week. Critical reviews were not terribly strong, at least the few I've read. I haven't seen too many. This is the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider,
Okay.
who, as it turns out, is not quite a Ghost Rider. He is bonded to a spirit that creates the abilities he has.
But
It's not an angel.
demon?
No, it's his murderous uncle, Eli.
Okay.
Alright.
Eli is telling him to kill things, and the deal is he will kill things for Eli, but they have to be bad people. So he's not an actual Ghost Rider. He's kind of an honorary one because Johnny Blaze found him and they talked about their various situations. And it sounds like what Robbie's doing is a Ghost Rider, but he is not he's not bonded to Zarathos or anything else like a Blaze or Ketch were.
Huh.
He just has his murderous relative stuck in his skull.
Interesting.
Awkward.
Yeah, and he's also going to get a new villain for his series, something called Piston Nitro. It's co-created by the co-creator of the current version of Ghost Rider, Trad Moore, and it's supposed to challenge him as he races back into the spotlight. I don't mind new villains, but Piston Nitro, a little on the nose.
Just a bit.
Now, there is word that the Champions, the new team for Marvel, may be getting a new member.
Uh-huh.
There was an image released by the series artist, Humberto Ramos, of supposedly the cover to issue number 5. And it involves the team looking on in horror as Gwenpool launches in front of them.
Where did Gwenpool come from?
Gwenpool is from an alternative dimension. She's another Gwen Stacy. But she is very aware that the universe she's landed in is extremely different from the one she came from, so she's convinced that anything she does in the main 616 has no consequences whatsoever to her or her reality. It's like she believes that the entire universe is just kind of one expanded long dream.
Huh.
So she does anything and everything. Last I checked, she deposed MODOK and took over his rogue section of AIM.
Huh.
He was using her as an assassin, yeah. But Gwenpool on that team, she fits in with the motif of the all these characters that have legacies connected to long-standing Marvel characters. So I'd be curious to see what she adds to the team, except I almost don't want to see what she adds to the team. Or subtracts from it, anyway. Jesse, you remember we were talking a little bit about Unworthy Thor. It went from an ongoing series to a miniseries. Then issue 3, the series artist Oliver Copiel was suddenly taken off the solicits.
Uh-huh.
And he was being replaced by somebody else. Well, the solicits have been changed again, and Oliver Copiel has been put back on the issue.
Alright.
So according to the solicits, the change is no change. Oliver Copiel is back as the regular artist on the miniseries of Unworthy Thor.
Huh.
Interesting.
This swap has happened now twice over the past, 3 weeks. I would like to know what in the world this is about. Because maybe it's an editorial mistake. Maybe they mistook who was taking over the book, or that there was a takeover of the book, and they fixed it. Or it could be that Copiel read it himself and said, "Why am I off this?" And it's like, "Oh, damn, I forgot about that. Put it back. Put it back."
Guys, I'm here to submit my pages. What? Oh, right. Yes, your pages. Thank you.
Well, we also found out that we know that Resurrection is going to change the nature of the X-Men's role in the Marvel Universe right now, and hopefully bring them back into the main, adventuring role that they had before.
Uh-huh.
But Resurrection is also changing the roles of the Inhumans in the series.
Okay.
If you recall, the Inhumans were on New Attilan, which has been stuck on Earth for quite a while.
Yeah.
They're going back into space.
Huh.
With the exception of a few of the newer characters, most of the royal family is taking off into deep space.
For what?
They have to go visit the Kree Empire, which is technically the people who created the Inhumans way back when.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And they're not going alone. They're taking a Kree with them. They're going with Marvel Boy. I think his name is Novar. He was a relatively recent Marvel creation in the last 10 years. He was an Avenger for a very short time during their world-spanning storylines. He's from an alternative dimension where the original Captain Marvel, his DNA was monkeyed with, and they crossbred it with an insectoid species to create an heir. And Novar is that heir.
The insectoid species.
I don't have all the details. I do know that he has his own version of the Negabands that came from his universe.
Huh.
So he tends to use the Negabands as a holdout in case his quick thinking and his pistol don't work for him. In addition to that, the king of the Inhumans, Black Bolt. I'd like to know how a character that's not allowed to speak is going to get his own ongoing solo series.
A lot of thought bubbles.
Well, this is happening in 2017. He is getting his own ongoing. Starts with Black Bolt #1, And there is actually a solicit here that says, quote, Black Bolt has been... He's kind of an odd character, because he's been around in the Marvel Universe for 50 years, according to the series writer, Saladin Ahmed, who's a novelist of the Crescent Moon Kingdom series. He goes on to say, quote, he was created by, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby back in the day, and the Inhumans have always been this sort of interesting, almost cult thing in the Marvel Universe. They've never been as famous as the X-Men, or the Hulk, or Spider-Man, or anything like that. For more kind of hardcore Marvel nerds, there are these touchstone characters. I don't want to say hipster, a hipster test, but if you know who the Inhumans are, then you're sort of like on the inside. So the challenge is bringing him to new readers. He's this kind of strange sort of 60s cosmic Marvel character. Yeah, very much a creation of his time. Unquote. It's true, man. Inhumans are one of those things that heavy Marvel fans just kind of giggle about.
Yeah. None of them were ever really taken all that seriously up until...
Despite the fact that they are incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Yeah, but they were often kept separate from most of Marvel.
Yeah, they really didn't have many interactions.
Well, that's okay. There's one more Inhuman series that's coming out of Resurrection. It's called The Secret Warriors. It is... it's nothing like the team on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not even like the original team of Secret Warriors.
Okay.
It's being led by Quake, Daisy Johnson, who I guess has been changed from mutant to Inhuman in comics as well. And flanking her are the Inhumans Inferno, which is relatively new in Marvel.
Okay.
Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Karnak.
Okay.
And Moon Girl. Luna Lafayette, the seventh...
Right.
She's no longer she's no longer the sixth. She's been formally identified as the smartest character in the current Marvel Universe.
Huh.
And she's still only about 11 years old.
What about the dinosaur or whatever?
Oh, it's not Inhuman, but it's coming too.
Okay.
Moon Girl's part of the team, but you are not going to tell a Tyrannosaurus, sit, stay.
Yeah,
good.
That's what we call a complete package.
Yep.
Or package deal.
So it's a
Kamala on the Secret Warriors and the Champions?
Yeah. And she has her own book. She's reaching Wolverine levels of multitasking.
That was the first superhero she teamed up with. She was like, hey.
The idea is, as most of the Inhumans go into space, the Secret Warriors will be the ones who protect the Inhumans who stay behind.
Okay.
So, think of them as the X-Men of the Inhumans, more or less. Although, just between Miss Marvel and Karnak and even Quake, not much you can't handle.
No, just as long as they don't turn into the Brotherhood of the Inhumans.
Which would be kind of welcome. And lastly, some details are coming out about the new X-Men series coming post-Resurrection. First of all, X-Men Gold. The roster has been set, and it feels like second verse, same as the first, except a couple things have been swapped around. It's Old Man Logan, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Rachel Gray, who's now known as Prestige, and the team is being led by Kitty Pryde.
Huh.
The series writer, get this, it's Arrow co-showrunner Mark Guggenheim, who's returning to the X-Men.
All right.
He said that Kitty, quote, Kitty is the right person to bring the X-Men into the future, to herald in the next era of the X-Men. We are post the war with the Inhumans, and the X-Men are sort of at a crossroads. They're at a point where they're trying to decide, is there a future for the X-Men? And Kitty is very much of the mindset that there is a future for the X-Men, and it's a bright future. That there's more work that the X-Men still have to do. Not just for mutants, but really for humanity. What Kitty's leadership does from a storytelling perspective is that it really positions the book for its mission statement, which is we really want to tell the stories that get back to the idea of just the X-Men as superheroes. Not all the stories that we're doing are based on mutants or the problems of mutants or the conflict with the Inhumans. It's very much a team superhero book, unquote.
All right.
Part of the Resurrection era is that Rachel Gray, they figured that she is ripe for a new code name. It's been a long time since she's been a Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's not exactly a Marvel girl. There's one of those running around already. So that's where Prestige comes from. Beg your pardon?
I said Sister Prestige.
Well, and as far as X-Men Blue, It's the time-lost original 5. Angel, Iceman, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Beast, all reunited, new uniforms, and oddly enough, their color schemes, I noticed they match their original costumes from their X Factor days. Or their adult X Factor days, I guess. Angel's in red and white, Iceman's in blue and white, or teal and white, Beast is in blue and red, Jean Grey's in green and gold, and Cyclops is in blue and gold. It's a damn near perfect mirror for their X Factor original costumes.
Now, as long as they don't have anything gray, then...
Well, they have a Jean Grey.
I know.
Okay. But they do have a new mentor.
Who?
Magneto.
Of course.
They're allowing Magneto not as a field leader, but to, I guess, usher their direction. And of course, as the writer of the series, Colin Bunn, put it, Magneto always has ulterior motives. He always wants something different from what he's saying. But he also said that maybe these kids are smart enough to know that because they've encountered Magneto in their timeline, and maybe they have an ulterior motive to this team-up. Apparently, they have a plan of their own.
Now it comes down to who is smarter.
Cyclops. You asked. Marvel's Iceman solo series is going to focus not only on his power levels, which are never very well defined in his history, but they're also going to work on his developing sexuality. The character was brought out as gay about 4 years ago, I think. No, closer to 2 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
And they haven't delved much into his personal life at that point. And this will be the first time Iceman's ever had an ongoing solo. He's had minis and he's had events, but he's never had his own book before. I kind of welcome it, because Iceman's been one of my favorite characters growing up.
Once he moved past his throwing slush balls, he grew on me.
You know, the moment I kind of enjoyed it was when he grew past that gigantic wrestling-sized belt he wore in X Factor. I mean, yes, it broke up his nondescript costume, but dude, that was huge. He looked like he beat the Juggernaut to get it. Details have been announced on the new Generation X series, and it has almost nothing to do with its original series from the 90s.
Okay.
The only thing the same is the person leading the charge, and that's Jubilee.
She's still around?
Yes, and she's still a vampire.
Oh.
But don't be surprised if you don't know any of the names on Generation X.
What happened to her kid, by the way?
I don't know. I think that was settled in the X-Men series, but I do not know. I didn't read that terribly long after the first couple storylines.
Oh, no.
The writing dragged.
Which one? The one that was still a baby or the one that came back from the future?
The one that was still a baby.
I don't know what happened to Baby Shiro. But the members of Generation X... God, they call them lovable losers, frankly. You have Quentin Quire, the Omega Kid,
Okay.
or Kid Omega,
Yeah.
iBoy, Benjamin Deeds, Nature Girl, Bling, and a brand new character called Nathaniel Carver.
Bling?
Bling. She has the ability to expand like this diamond-like substance around herself. It's a combination of her natural state, and I guess she can also fire them off in small amounts. Nature Girl, she has an affinity with nature and some kind of floating ability. Benjamin Deeds is the reflective metamorph that Cyclops picked up in Uncanny X-Men. He looked vaguely like other people, so they tend to trust him more.
Oh, right. The one that
Yeah.
Emma convinced to flirt with. Yeah.
Right. Nathaniel Carver is a brand new character. He's a psychometric. Anyone he touches, he can read their history.
Oh. Oh, okay.
And then iBoy is probably my favorite of the ones that are here, because everyone hates him because he looks so useless. He has eyes everywhere on his body. The fronts and backs of his hands, all up and down his arms, his legs, several on his head. I mean, what use is it to be able to look in all directions, right? It turns out a side effect of having all those eyes is he can see emissions in all kinds of different spectrums.
Each eye detects a different form of...
Right, he can see where sound waves are coming from, he can see where heat is coming from. At one point, people were trying to understand why all these magical creatures were harassing the Jean Grey Institute, and why can't they find him. And from the back of the room, they just said, why don't you follow the trail? And they look at him and he said, "You can't see that trail right there?" He can actually see magical energies.
Huh.
So he sees in just about every available conceivable spectrum.
Damn.
It's ugly, but it's useful. These are the mutants that the X-Men have determined are not strong enough to be X-Men, not charismatic enough to be ambassadors of mutant kind. These are the leftovers.
Huh.
And then Jean Grey is getting her own solo series. Not a lot of details been given about that, except for the fact that the very first story arcs will have to deal with young Jean Grey encountering the Phoenix Force.
Yay!
Oh, fun.
Yeah, puberty plus cosmic energy.
Well, there goes the universe.
Good luck with all of it. The series is going to be written by Dennis Hopeless. He's a long-standing, he's a long-standing, very well-known writer. The art's going to be done by Victor Ibanez. And the last up, I don't have any information on the Cable series, but information was just released on the Weapon X series. That was a big question mark when they announced all 7 of these books. Because Weapon X, as a company, hasn't been active in a while that we know of. Mm-hmm. Apparently, this series may be the most horrific type of Black Ops team that there's been in a while. Old Man Logan, Domino, Warpath, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike.
That's a vicious crew.
With the exception of Domino, that's almost the embodiment of Razor-like death. I'd like to know why Old Man Logan's on this team. First, he seems to be trying to avoid violence, so I'd like to know why he's on this particular squad. It's nothing but violence.
Yeah, well, and especially with Lady Deathstrike on it.
Yeah. I mean, technically, the most pragmatic member of these 5 right now is Sabretooth.
Really?
He has never changed back from the Axis.
Oh.
He's had his heroic bent since that series. He's one of 3 characters that never had his alignment changed back to its original form.
Another one, right?
Yeah, Havoc and Iron Man were the other 2. At the end of Axis was the reason for the Superior Iron Man series.
Ah, okay.
So, I have huge questions about this. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I have huge questions. Greg Pak is doing the art. Greg Pak is doing the writing. Greg Land is doing the art.
I'm really curious what some of these characters are going to do when they actually encounter Old Man Logan, since a lot of them had issues with the original Logan dying.
Are you kidding? Everybody on that team, with the exception of Domino, was part of the Wolverines miniseries right after Logan died.
Yeah, that's what
They
I'm
were the
saying.
ones trying to figure out how to carry on his legacy. Even Deathstrike was trying to understand what to do now. So I don't have a good answer. As far as DC comic news, I only have 3 bits of news. First off, there may be some details finally about the Justice League versus Suicide Squad crossover.
Still think that's a bit one-sided.
It does sound like it as long as it's versus, but turns out it's not going to be versus very long because they're going to be dealing with an enemy that I haven't heard of in New 52 or Rebirth. But long-standing DC fans will know this name, and some of them will probably be a bit terrified. Do you know the name Maxwell Lord?
I have heard it.
The name was in Supergirl.
Not for the same reasons you think. In
I
the
know.
comic books, Maxwell Lord worked with the Justice League for a long time as an administrator.
Okay.
He just helped the team keep things straight and keep them on point. Turns out he was a manipulative bastard and a telepath.
Okay.
Very talented telepath, but he has a weird side effect. When he uses his abilities, he starts to gain headaches and he starts to bleed from the nose. He once tried to control the entire world, but he needed constant transfusions of blood to keep his system functioning. So controlling 1 or 2 people is just a simple nosebleed. Wipe away, you're done. If he starts controlling multiple people, it gets more problematic. But he is a master manipulator. He doesn't use his telepathy as an offensive weapon. He tends to use it to drive people off their intentions and make them do things they generally wouldn't want to do.
Just skew them just a bit.
Right. He's not as malevolent as Lex Luthor, but half the time, even if you know who he is, you'll never see him coming because all he did is tweak someone you know to create this wildly different effect.
Huh.
So that's going to be the villain in Justice League versus Suicide Squad, and apparently one of Maxwell Lord's first targets, Belle Rev Prison. Yeah, which, by the way, there has been an interesting DC story that's Suicide Squad related. It's not in my story, so I'll just tell it to you. The Suicide Squad have been infected. Actually, all of Belle Rev Prison have been infected by something that is creating madness, and everyone is losing their minds. You know, Amanda Waller is losing her mind. Deadshot is trying to kill everyone in the prison. Killer Croc, don't ask.
Yeah.
It's ugly. There's only one person that can save them. Because as soon as they got infected, they broke into the storehouse, grabbed their lab coat, snipped their hair, and put on their glasses. Dr. Harleen Quinzel is back in business. This stuff has actually eased her brain chemistry.
Aw.
It's made her sing.
Yes. She is by herself trying to figure out how to fix Belle Rev Prison.
But she's still lethal enough to keep her...
She's still a talented fighter, gymnast, and acrobat, and tactically sound. But now she's mentally stable. For now. She thinks this may be temporary, but she's going to fix this.
Interesting.
We talked a little bit about Warren Ellis. He has a 2-year plan for the Wildstorm line of books for DC.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's going to be any sort of universal integration. I don't know if this will have to do anything with DC at large. But a couple of panels of art have been released finally. And I'm curious to... I'd like to get your opinions because, you know, Steve, you remember Wildstorm when it first came out? It was like the high end of superhero concept.
Yeah.
Everybody had fancy bases. Everybody had costumes that were impossible to afford or cosplay.
I don't know. Oh God, Voodoo.
Which version?
The stripper costume wasn't impossible.
I don't know. Those boots made it pretty damn hard. But it seems like from the concept art that's been released, Wildstorm is basically turning into the lo-fi version of superheroes in the DC universe. There wasn't much art that was put out, but what there is, it's a very different feel. Take a look at this.
Huh.
You can see Grifter, it's basically a tactical suit and his old kerchief mask standing in the end of an alley. There's the new version of Deathblow just getting a transfusion. There's Zealot in a red coat. Mm-hmm. Nothing fancy about any of them. Nothing fancy or flashy. It just looks like it's a straightforward group of thugs. Mm-hmm. So it's a completely different direction from what I think when I think Wildstorm. Although I have trust in Warren Ellis as a writer. He's the guy who took Stormwatch to new levels. Mm. So I would like to know where this is heading. Oh, and apparently the panel at the top, that's the new engineer.
Ah.
So, the art was revealed as part of the author's weekly email newsletter he calls Orbital Operations.
Okay.
And last up is the news that, excuse me, Nightwing is returning to Bloodhaven.
Okay.
Where is Bloodhaven?
Bloodhaven is a Gotham suburb. It was his stomping ground for a very long time in comics. So it's not like he's left Jersey. He's just going back to where he's best known as far as casual fans. As this is happening as of December 7th at Nightwing number 10. It's being revamped by series writer Tim Seeley, and the artist is going to be Marcus Toe. Bloodhaven is being reborn in Gotham as an aspiring family tourism destination. Right?
Yeah!
They better remarket that name.
There will be some villains who have familiar names, even though they may not be the same characters to Nightwing. They're being known as the Runoffs. They're going to include revised versions of Stallion, Thrill Devil, Giz, Mouse, Gorilla Grim, and Orca. I honestly do not know any of those names. Just saying those out loud, it sounds like something from an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah, kind of.
So, if you're a long-term fan of Dick Grayson, it sounds like you're going to be a very happy camper. If you're like me and don't know anything about Dick Grayson, you might just be a little bit perplexed. Okay, now we have general comic and convention news. This is where we talk about comics that aren't Marvel and DC related, as well as conventions happening all around the world. There was a recent fiscal impact list that was released for the city of San Diego. Want to guess what tops the fiscal impact as far as events that happen within the city on a yearly basis?
San Diego Comic-Con?
By a wide frackin' margin. According to the latest fiscal impact report, which is Comic-Con 2015. You know, it takes a while for these reports to be compiled. 2015 generated $140 million in economic impact just to the region. We're not counting sales in the building. We're just talking about the businesses that came to the city and spent money, use of the hotel rooms, use of the businesses, local money spent. $140 million just around the convention center.
Damn.
That's actually an increase of $4.1 million for the 2015 fiscal year.
Wow.
And they were nice enough to put together a graphic that says that the average person attending Comic-Con will spend $1,179 outside of the convention. And we're talking travel to get to San Diego. Hotel rooms seem to average about $428 per person. Meals and beverages, about $143. Things like retail shopping, about $80. And, of course, we're talking, again, outside the convention because $80 is one good issue. Local transportation, about $18. Air transportation, $83. Car rental, $27. Miscellaneous, $17. The weird little odds and ends you need. And meeting, planning, and exhibitor event costs about $323 per person. And I don't think they mean that each individual spent that on event planning. I think they mean that events plan average cost to everybody visiting the area.
Yeah.
So when you think about that in tunes of $1,179 spent average per person and 130,000 people attending the convention, that builds fast. So, the current contract for San Diego Comic-Con has them in San Diego through 2018, which means this coming convention, 2017, 2018, both secure, but you can bet that people are probably starting to finagle behind the scenes for a new contract. You got to settle that soon just to plan things that are happening in and around town.
Yeah.
And Jesse and I talked while you were gone, Steve. Wizard World is in trouble.
I saw something about that.
Okay, well, part of the trouble has to do with one of their employees. The brother of the original founder of Wizard Magazine, which was spun into Wizard World Conventions. He is being sued by Wizard World Conventions for $1 million. The reason why is that he was in charge of using Wizard World money to get items sold by their guests of honor and then sold those items on the site for both charity and for the convention itself, right?
Okay.
He used the Wizard World Convention money to take several of these items, get them signed, sell them, and then pocket the returns.
Douche.
So you and I talked about him about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, probably as part of this problem, Wizard World has recently had a call to its stockholders. And we also said about the same time about that $1 million suit that they're scaling back their number of conventions per year from like 21 to 17. It turns out that as part of its quarterly SEC filings, the company now lists working capital of $2.5 million. Respectable for a convention.
Okay.
Except, remember, Wizard World is not a convention, it's 17 conventions. They have $2.5 million in capital to work with after a deficit of $15,263,411. They're way in the hole. So it's expected they're probably going to start cutting costs at a lot of conventions to try and make some of this money back in the next fiscal year. I mean, you can't bounce back from $15 million. You have to do it over increments. And they just have a new CEO that was hired, John D. Mata, and the board are looking to seek outside funding through loans, equity investments, and cutting operating costs. There are no Wizard Worlds left in the Southland. One does happen in Sacramento in California. They happen in a number of other states across the country, but they have no international conventions. This is a serious problem. Steve, are you a fan of the Dark Crystal?
I was at one time.
Okay. We heard last time we got together that they were making a sequel. They are making a sequel. And it's going to be 22 pages per issue. The Dark sequel is getting a comic book follow-up.
Okay.
It's going to be called The Power of the Dark Crystal. It's going to be a 12-issue limited series based on an unused feature script with art drawn by artists with an eye towards Brian Froud, the character designer, the original Dark Crystal.
Okay.
So they're looking to actually continue the series as faithfully as they possibly can. This is going to be an Archaea book. So it's an independent book. And Boom Studios has done something with their Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series that hasn't been done in 23 years.
Okay.
What?
They have made a new Ranger.
Huh.
What color?
See, that's where it gets weird. The character has been harassing all 6 of the original Rangers for a while now. It's called the Black Dragon. It's been attacking from some kind of pocket dimension. It's been sending all kinds of random threats. They've heard its voice, but they haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even caused the Rangers to test a new ability. Tommy has apparently expanded the abilities of the Dragon Zord and turned all 5 of the original Rangers green. So their color schemes are all green and white right now. They're exhibiting a few expanded abilities. It's like think of it like a strength boost. It's not exactly a whole set of new powers.
All right.
But it gets even weirder when you see the design of the Black Dragon, because it looks like if you took the character of Tommy, the original Green Ranger, and the character of Tommy, the original White Ranger, and the character of Tommy, the White Ranger from a later series.
He was actually a Black Ranger.
Yeah, and combine the 3, and that's the Black Dragon. It's like a mixture of Tommy's White Ranger costume, his Green Ranger costume, and his...
Those ridges are reminiscent from his
Yeah.
as a Black Ranger.
I think it was like Dino Thunder or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. So all aspects of all 3 costumes are right here in this design.
Huh.
I don't know if this is a new character because I don't read the Power Rangers comics. That's not my wheelhouse type item. But this is creating a lot of stir online because there's a lot of people who are fans of these Ranger series and these Zentai series.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to admit to some curiosity because generally when these characters show up, it's somebody they already know.
Isn't that Lord Zed's throne?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it. It doesn't look like a Chevelle. And that's obviously in the belt buckle is a standard, or at least a variation on the Morpher. So, this has got tongues waggling across the internet. And I admit to curiosity. I don't know if I'd read it necessarily, but I'd kind of like to know what that's about.
Yeah.
And then last up is Image Reunited. Image United was a miniseries that was supposed to recollect the original creators of Image and their various properties and put them into one crossover book. For a 6-issue limited series, it must have done really well because they never produced more than 2 of them.
Huh.
The story just dropped cold and there's no explanation as to why. Well, they're trying it again, except it's not the original creators. Think of it as the second generation of Image creators. We're talking the Savage Dragon, the Witchblade, Invincible, the second Shadowhawk, the Darkness, the Pit. And they're coming together for some kind of crossover. This announcement just came out 2 days ago. And it's going to be a special 25th anniversary brunch-related crossover event, as they put it. Which is about as image of an announcement as you're ever going to hear. So, I admit to some curiosity, but it's just, this is a couple generations removed from when I didn't read Image a whole lot.
Right.
Although the fact that Pitt's in it makes me really want to read it. Pitt was the guy that freaked me out before the Hulk did. Pitt was created by one of the most notorious Hulk artists of all time, Dale Keown.
Mm-hmm.
And his first appearances weren't even in his own series. He appeared in Cyberforce and Gen 13, terrorizing people before he got his own series. And when I say terrorizing, think of something that's like the size of the Hulk.
Yeah.
But it's closer to fleshy tone, but maybe a little grayer, a little more pale.
Uh-huh.
Lots of teeth, no nose, red eyes, and
Really long rocker hairstyle.
yeah, claws, chains. He basically stole clothes from a bunch of bikers and put them on. It's a little bit of a 90s stereotype. However, when he encountered hunters who accidentally shot him in the middle of the woods, how do you think he responded?
No more hunters.
He walked over to the hunters, grabbed the double barrel out of the hands of the guy that shot him, pulled it apart, wrapped it around his neck a couple times, loosely, not choking him, and then walked away. And while he was walking away, he said, "You can run and scream in terror now."
He did.
Yeah. So he has moments of anger, but he's actually a pretty intelligent creature. He's an alien. I mean, for God's sakes, his first appearance in Cyberforce, I will never forget the second issue when a bunch of people just robbed something. Mm-hmm. They took like one of the ancillary characters of Cyberforce. They get to their hideout, which is like the apartment of their one female member, and as they get out of their minivan, I kid you not, minivan, one of them looks at the sofa in her garage and says, "Who's that sleeping on your sofa?" "That's Pitt." "Why don't you tell him to leave?" "Look at the size of him. You tell him to leave." Pitt was definitely portrayed as a do-whatever-he-wants character simply because you don't even want to risk what he might do otherwise. You know, as she put it, if he says he wants to sleep in my garage, have at it! Okay, last up is our WTF Corner. It's where we talk about those stories from across the internet that just really make you scratch your head and wonder, how did Vegas survive this long? But the first WTF story was a confusing story to me. China is going to build a solar power plant in one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. Chernobyl.
Okay.
Why? The site of the 1980s nuclear disaster that will make that place uninhabitable for the next 60 years, starting like right now. A Chinese company wants to build the solar plant in the zone. Radiation from the 1986 meltdown has spread unevenly throughout the zone, leading to government calls for repopulation and renewed agriculture in regions deemed, air quotes, safe.
Yeah, safe.
So 2 Chinese firms, they want to produce an energy plan, and there's parts of it that seem insane to me, but I gotta admit, if you want to think about uninterrupted views of the skyline, Chernobyl is high on that list.
Yeah.
Probably a decent place to produce solar. Goodness knows there are 2 flat areas where nuclear plants are that don't have a whole lot of things going on right now. You know, staple solar panels all over that thing. Maybe you can make some decent juice out of it. But it just, on the surface, it sounds so goddamn risky. I don't even know feasibly how you'll run the line to accumulate it.
Well, how are they going to construct it without people dying?
Well, you bury it far enough underground, you're not going to have to worry too much about it.
No, that still doesn't solve the question of how are you going to build it there without people dying or getting sick.
Feed them the Chinese food and they'll wonder if it's the food making them sick.
Still doesn't answer my question.
Look, man, it's not my plan. I couldn't do this. And I don't mean the paranoia of just working there. I mean the idea of sending people into that place is haphazard, unsafe. Yes, there are guided tours, but they're guided tours. I'm still surprised that people think there's enough safe zones in there that agriculture is possible. Do you want nuclear ants? Because that's how you get nuclear ants. I'm confused by the whole prospect.
Or do you get radioactive spiders?
Yeah. Well, because of us being on location in Las Vegas, I don't have too many video game videos. I just have one. I got this off Kotaku. It's a Titanfall 2 video, and the only reason I have it is because you want to see somebody do some wrecking in this game. This came from YouTuber Benchy. He got stuck with a team of 4 other people going AFK. And it's a 5-man team, and 4 people went AFK. He was by himself.
Wow.
Spoiler alert, he won. You want to see how he did it?
Sure.
Okay, this is Benchy's video. And as you can see, it starts out, it's right here at the start of the match.
Alright, that's the tone.
Mm-hmm. He is... Okay, he one-shot some poor fool. He's a master of timing. Obviously, he had the ability to start off in Titan. And here he is curling around, and his entire team is AFK. It's just him. Which sounds stupid in most respects, right? So there's an automated Titan. It's one of the bounties from the bounty hunt. And he's getting attacked in 2 directions here. But he's not going to let go of that bounty, obviously. And he took out one of the pilots harassing him. So he's back at the bounty. And he...
Money.
He knows how to pilot this thing, doesn't he? He's really sliding around this Ronin. And he's had enough, and nuclear detonation. And he got shot out of the sky. He lost half of that bonus he built up. But, whereas most people would rage quit by now, being by themselves, he gets back into the fight after trying to rally his team to do anything. He types in, he gets no response. He is just working. So again, he's still by himself. He's up against a 4-man team with at least one of them in a Titan right now. And look at him move across this map.
EMP.
Yeah, he harassed the one Titan there. And he dropped off his bonus, and he GTFO!
Wow.
And he's on the move.
Oh, that's some good misdirection.
And look at that, he's up against the pilot, and the other Titan followed him, though. But he had no bonus to lose. And, undaunted, as soon as he spawns, he's right back in.
Man can move.
He knows his zones. He's wall running, bouncing, sliding, anything to get him going. Nope, no stealth kill for you. And the automated bounties took him out, unfortunately. Still, not stopping. And you can see he's 1,000 behind these people right now in overall score.
Yeah.
He's hurt. But he goes right back into the bounty zone. And he just rodeoed an enemy Titan and stole his battery. Bye! And he saw the stealther. I don't know. I can't pick him out that fast. And he just called his Titan. He's already earned a new Titan. And he's in Zone B. He's starting to clean up an area where it looks like none of his enemies are. And look at this carnage, man. He's already earned up 100 in bonuses. And the number just keeps climbing. This is a man to be feared.
Oh, damn, he's got his core ready.
Yep. He's been killing those bounties, man. They count. And he ultimates the enemy Titan. He wasn't even kind about it.
So, no, you're gonna die.
And he just ran over 3 of the NPCs. 4. I've played several rounds of multiplayer. I've never seen anyone react this fast.
Oh, he's probably on
And
PC.
look, the bank's just opened, and he's dumping off over 500 in bonuses.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's playing PC. This is way too smooth for console.
Probably, but look, he's already cut their lead from 1,100 to 7. And he's still a solo player. Look, enemy Titan. And he just ran right by it. He wouldn't let that guy go. Oops.
Oops.
Ran right into the Titan who did know where he was. But, again, he's not even waiting. He's running right back into the thick of it. And there he is in human form taking on a bounty Titan. And now he's on. I will not say he isn't brave. Look at that. An enemy tries to rodeo it and he killed him.
Damn.
He is mobile. Dancing around shields, too. Are you impressed yet?
He's doing a good job.
Look at that. Somebody tried to gun him down? No.
I like to see him do a Titanfall kill.
He just called a Titan, too. There it is. His Titan's on the ground. He's headed right back for the bounty. He does not play. Look at that, man. He's got a good spatial awareness for this game. And he's back to bounty hunting. Damn NPC won't even acknowledge him. He already has 400 in bounties. He's got an enemy rider. And look, guy tries to get away? No.
Yeah, honestly, the tone is ridiculous.
Doing pretty well with a Titan, too. He just blew up the bounty. And now he's got 2 enemy Titans on his 6. And he just ultimated the Ronin right in the face.
Oh, not kind.
Nope. And eject, nuclear detonation. He just got more money.
And there's bank open.
And look, enemy pilot. And he doesn't even wait, man. He charges them and beats them out of the bank.
I'm making a deposit right now.
Another person tries to rush him, didn't make it, and he stole their bonus and added it to his own.
He was still depositing that when he murdered him.
Yep, and he just pulled within 500 of the other team. And he's still by himself. Just killed an enemy pilot, and now we're back to bounty hunting. And I think he just called a Titan.
No, that was an enemy Titan. I saw that. I was like, oh, he's dead.
And look at this.
God, man knows how to move.
Yep, he does not wait. He's got to have a booster in there.
He's got an amp, so...
And look at that. He's outmaneuvering the Titan waiting for him. He's not playing with the pilots. He wants those bounties. He already has another 100 and he's just earned a Titan.
He's not using the card, is he?
Nope. And he's back in the tone. The blue tone. Oh! One shot a pilot. He's even ignoring the other Titan just so we can get more bounties. Oh! Did you see that pilot duck out and back?
He's like, oh crap.
He's like, no! This is an incredible vid.
Oh, he knows how to use the rocket arcs on his missiles.
Yeah, I don't even like the long-term Titan videos, but this one was entertaining to me. I've never seen anybody this good. And the banks are open. But...
And he's going vicious and nuke!
Yep. And he lands on the other side, and guess what? He killed the pilot who was haranguing him. And now he drops his bonus.
Wow.
And he outmaneuvers somebody who had him within an inch
he's
of his life. There's 2 of them.
3!
And he did it. Nope. Couldn't get away from the Titan.
Yeah, but he outmaneuvered 3 pilots.
Dumped his bonus, and now he's within 440 of the enemy team. And guess what? There's that pilot who will not get away from him. And he's going to dump that... Oh, shoot. At a stealther that was hiding.
Oh, you got some of it down there.
A little. And he's just not waiting. He's already attacking enemy Titans as a human. Oh.
That's kind of mean.
I'm sure that guy was wondering where that came from. And look at that. He's already back in the fight on another enemy Titan.
It's like... He has a Titan weapon on a person. That's something you just want dead.
He also has like Schwarzenegger 90 movie style guts when it comes to these things, man. He does not wait, he doesn't shy. He just moves forward.
Already got the Titan again.
And already has another Titan.
Is that a Scorch?
Nope, that's a... Oh yeah, that is a Scorch. It's Burn.
Right, no, that thing's tough. Those things are tough.
And how long did it take for him to get in this fight, but he's already just pinning this thing down. And look, enemy Titan destroyed.
Yeah, but that was a Ronin.
I know. And now he just ultimated the Scorch, which has got barely anything left.
AMP, someone's throwing grenades at him.
Rodeo alert, somebody's on the back of it. But he doesn't care, he's completely ignoring it. And nuclear explosion. How much you want to bet that guy didn't get away with the battery? And he guns down a pilot, and another pilot, and he's on the run. Notice the score, he's pulled within 300 before he even dropped the bank, right?
Yeah.
And somebody was waiting for him at the bank, killed him, dropped the bonus. Another person waiting, killed that. You just cashed in about another 600. And guess what?
He's in the lead.
Yep, and there's only 3 rounds, or I think 3 rounds of bounties per drop, so you gotta wait till the cash out round is over. But he's currently in the lead by less than $40. And you're supposed to get to 5,000, he's got nearly 4,500. Cash out round is over, he wins! He just solo won versus a near full team. And he's still murdering them!
Oh, they have to escape now.
I know, but he just killed the guy. He's not even hiding for the sake of just taking his victory. He wants more.
Oh, he's out for blood.
And Stealth Pilot didn't get away.
You said Schwarzenegger. I think more like Rambo here.
He just killed the 3rd one. I think there's only 1 left. Oh no, 2 left.
Yeah, the one that he killed.
there's a
at
Titan.
first, it hadn't hit epilogue yet, so he gets to respawn.
And he's still fighting, and he just called another Titan. This is a man that hates you. He hates you, your wife, your kids, and your cat.
Yeah, just imagine the 48 Kers.
Look at him just chucking it down, man. He's pretty much got that. And he ultimates a dead Titan. What a cruel bastard. And nuclear eject right next to one. He got all but one of them. He is the man.
Yeah, I gotta give him props for that. There's no way I could do that.
It was damn impressive. God, there was a guy. Why isn't Japan the strangest things happen? You know how people on trains get a little bit molesty?
Yeah, I have a shirt commemorating it.
Okay, there's a man who got away with it. He was arrested. Shut up. He was arrested for touching a woman inappropriately. The police questioned him, and he said that he wasn't trying to molest her. He was touching her because he was trying to pick her pocket. He was after her wallet. And the police apparently said, "That's feasible. Let him go."
Wait, what?
They don't arrest him for the attempted pickpocket?
Oh, he was arrested and arraigned, but I mean, it's a misdemeanor, even in Japan, for pickpocketing, and that's all they believe he did. So now, as you can imagine, there's a lot of worries, at least in the internet community in Japan, that there may be an actual defense against train molestation, or at least the accusations of it. I was just looking for her wallet. Her pink, fluffy wallet. How, right?
Yeah.
How? It's okay. In the name of the moon, you will have protection. And I say that because there's a line of Sailor Moon condoms now.
Oh, it's a step away from the lingerie.
It's another Japanese product. It's being put out by Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. They're trying to raise awareness about STDs, and they think part of the way is to distribute Sailor Moon-themed posters and leaflets in their efforts, along with 60,000 condoms.
You're advertising this with cartoon characters.
Yeah. Young girl cartoon characters, no less.
It's actually worse than Joe Camel.
You think that's bad? Take a look at the condom package design. It's a heart. Complete with a chibi Sailor Moon on it. You open up the heart, you pull out the condom. Isn't that kind of a sick bit of imagery? You open up her heart and pull out the condom. So, good luck with that, right?
That's like the worst pickup line ever.
That's up there with put my diglet in your meowth.
Yeah, you came up with that one.
I know. I'm proud of me. But Japan also is getting serious about a joke which they want to turn into an actual thing. There's a Japanese city called Beppu, which is notorious for its hot springs.
Uh-huh.
And for a while there was a joke about maybe there should be a theme park based on hot springs. Wouldn't that be great? Apparently the mayor of Beppu says, yeah, that would be great. He wants to put a theme park together with rides based on hot springs.
Okay.
Please, for the sake of the people, tell me there will not be boiling hot water in a roller coaster. Because you can't sit anywhere underneath it.
maybe not boiling hot, but
I can only imagine what kind of safety issues there would be if half your rides have hot spring water in them. That Tower of Terror drop is going to take a whole new connotation. But I have a video of a bodybuilder who went insane.
Okay.
His name is Giannis Magos. He's a Greek bodybuilder. If I had to guess, I'd say about a third of his overall weight seems to be bronzer. But he got second in a bodybuilding competition recently. That's something to aspire to. Second in a bodybuilding competition. Obviously, he's good. He disagreed. Here's a video of the man actually flipping tables after he found out he got second in this competition. And when I say flipping tables, I mean that literally, not figuratively. He was mad enough to actually flip tables. You see that big golden thing in the middle there?
yeah.
That's him. It's a lot of muscle, right? And a very tiny Speedo. But he just decked an official. He just decked a suit. You can see some of the devastation he's left in his wake here on the lower right. Roid rage is an ugly thing.
Yeah, what is security going to do?
What is security supposed to do? The man is technically probably three of them combined.
In a Speedo.
He's actually upset over being second. And the guy looks like an Oscar that ran away.
Yeah, well, why were they pulling the other guy away?
I don't know. I don't understand the language in the video.
Yeah, maybe he really did get cheated out of first.
I don't know. This bodybuilder apparently called out to the International Federation of Bodybuilding president Rafael Santoja and urged him to, in no uncertain terms, suck my dick. So, you take from that what you will. We've talked a little bit about the strange designs in the Power Rangers film upcoming. We talked about the suits that look like Guybrush. We talked about the Jesse and I have talked about the new Zords. Half of them don't look like the animals. They don't even look close to the animals they're portraying.
Too many legs.
However, that's not the most nightmarish thing they've produced so far. Recent art was just released of the new design of Alpha 5, the person who helped Zordon administering the base. Yes, he looks like E.T. with an ugly hat and crab eyes.
I'll be honest. Remove the eyes, and that'll be okay.
I know, but the eyes make it horrific. It's staring directly into your soul. I mean, it almost looks like somebody got some weed and said, "Dude, I know what Alpha 5 would look like." And halfway through the art process, he started to shoot straight meth between his toes.
It looks like he's wearing a metallic sombrero with headlights attached to it.
I know, and on top of which, he stylized like the suits of the other Rangers with his silver and red stuff. He does look like a fat E.T. on drugs. You know, E.T. got lost, went to a space Mexican restaurant, and had too many of the jalapenos. This design is just freakish, man. I hope my kids don't see this movie, because I would be up all night telling them it's not real. He's not coming for you. It's just a movie. I'd like to know who designed this, but then again, I don't want to know who designed this.
Yeah.
Now, you know Chinese quality is always kind of suspicious in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have bridges filled with garbage, their buildings fall over, manholes explode.
They have more knockoffs than real items.
It's funny that you say knockoffs, because it's not necessarily what happened here, but the word knockoff is pretty appropriate.
Okay.
There's a woman who got breast implants. In China and even Korea, it's not all that uncommon for women who are unsure of themselves to get augmented or surgically enhanced or whatever. She got a pair of implants. She recently had to go to the doctor because those implants were near her navel.
Oh.
The implants migrated from her chest to her stomach.
How?
Well, first of all, the woman noticed that over time her breasts were starting to shrink in size while her stomach was slowly engorging. But she waited until the new bulge grew to a concerning size. I don't know what concerning means. She went to the hospital, and they explained to her that her former implant injections were using a substance called amazing gel. The words amazing and gel crossed. Amazing gel. It turns out this substance was banned because the gel will not hold in place like implants are supposed to. Sometimes there is the odd side effect of it draining out of the chest and moving south into the body. Yes. So I just thought about it. She has boob belly.
No.
I didn't say it had nipples. I just said she has boob belly. There's a couple extra mounds there. That is not too much Peking duck. Stop staring at me. So, I mean, she went to the hospital, and thankfully it didn't cause any extra health problems. They managed to excise the gel cleanly. Whether or not she'll ever get another implant? Considering Chinese quality, probably next week. And last up is the news that over a dozen agents in an FBI field office in Miami are now ill.
What happened?
Well, they suspect it has to do with a wooden sculpture that was installed in 2015. A 17-foot tall wooden sculpture was put in there. They paid $750,000 for this thing. The problem is, the sculpture is made out of... the sculpture itself is called Cedrus. It was created by the artist Ursula von Ridingsvard? I'll guess Ridingsvard. The name is way too fancy to be anything other than an artist. She is primarily known for working with large pieces of wood, has a lot of large displays, and she made this thing, Cedrus, out of a particular form of wood. She used Western red cedar.
Okay.
The current theory is that since this thing was installed in 2015, the reason why over a dozen agents are sick is because they have an allergy to Western red cedar, which is not something you would generally think of because the allergy is generally not acute. It needs to build over time. However, that sculpture has been there for almost 2 years. That is time. So, right now, the FBI is working on a way to take this 17-foot tall piece of wood and uninstall it.
Chainsaw?
All I can think of is what a great use of $750,000 in taxpayer money.
Yay.
Killing FBI agents. Wonderful. As you can probably hear by a little bit of the background noise, we are here in Las Vegas right now. We are working at Great American Comic-Con. We have finished half the convention. It's a 2-day convention, December 3rd and 4th at the Cashman Center. And I don't have any photos so far, and I have been working my ass off.
Yes, he has.
You know, I spent, 6 hours solid doing panels?
Yep.
Panels in an auction.
Yeah?
It's hard to give you guys a full review yet of the convention. We'll probably have a better idea tomorrow when we have a little bit more social time. I will say that the hall, for a small convention, is a pretty well-rounded group of items.
Yeah.
You know, there's a good amount of comic books. There's a few general items. Not a whole lot of vintage toys, but a lot of pop culture toys.
I saw some place with some vintage toys.
Okay. I saw a couple fan groups. I'm kind of surprised that there is both an artist alley and an industry art section. Because generally the two are either intermixed or it's either one or the other. But in this case, the convention has both. And it's not like it's lightweight art. It's not like it's lightweight industry people. I mean, we're talking Neil Adams, Bob Layton, John Romita Jr., Michael Golden, Brian Pulido. These guys all matter when it comes to comic books. This is like a Silver Age and even like a 90s age dream of artists here. And I admit I still have terror about speaking in public, but I remember a lot more this weekend than I did last because I'm mentally prepared, thank goodness. And I would say so far that the panel's been going well. You know, I've had a couple of the guys after the first day stop and tell me that they had a good time, and the people they talked to said they had a good time.
That's good.
So it appears it's going positively, and everybody so far has given me permission to repost all the panels I've hosted.
Okay.
So we get to post them on the website. I'll probably do it individually because if I do everything as one gigantic package, that's going to be like 12 hours worth of audio, and even I don't have the patience for that.
No.
And besides which, it seems like a lot of the artists I've interviewed, they would like to host links to our own show. Not like get their own versions. They want to host links to our shows on their own sites and medias.
Sweet.
So we're going to get more people listening to us?
Yeah, in other words, they don't care about getting the hits on their own version of the shows. They would like to bounce the hits onto us.
Oh.
So I appreciate that, truly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could have been very demanding, and so far they've been very giving. You know, and I've already been asked to host a panel next year.
Oh, we're coming back. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not like I was asked by the convention. It was actually one of the artists, Bob Layton.
Uh-huh.
He's been called like the quintessential Iron Man artist. The guy did it all throughout the 80s. If you think about like major points in Tony Stark's history, generally the pictures you're thinking of are his art. And he, in the middle of his panel, he started telling me stories about the stuff he and John Romita Jr. would do, because the two of them would work very closely together. And they got into like some Animal House style antics. I don't mean like panty raids, but I mean the one story was almost insane. The way he told it, and I'm going to paraphrase because I remember half of it, was that he and John Romita Jr. were on a chartered plane flying back from another gig and getting ready to go back to work at Marvel. And this was back when the World Trade Center was in existence in New York. Mm-hmm. And apparently the two of them got into the pilot's chamber and just said, hey, let's freak him out. Point the plane at the building. Just get really close and turn away. Just point the plane at the building.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said they have a ton more stories like that. And he also said that he didn't realize until they both arrived that both of these men are at the convention and they wish they did a panel together. I said, that sounds like it'd be an all-day thing. So after the panel, he tells me, seriously, we have to get a panel together next year. So I might be sitting between two crazy people next year.
As opposed to one crazy person at a time?
As opposed to sitting between you two crazy people. But I'd say it's already been going pretty interesting. I already hosted a charity auction. We had local artists each do a sketch based on a theme and sold them off for auction. We raised $140 for charity.
Cool.
And the theme that was picked by the audience was brilliant.
But
Make a new Herald of Galactus. Take any character in comic books and make them a Herald of Galactus.
oh.
And there were 5 artists on the stage. They chose the Invisible Woman, Susan Richards.
Okay.
Wolverine.
Alright.
Black Bolt.
Oh god, that's scary.
Wasn't it, though? There was 2 more. Harley Quinn.
That's kind of terrifying.
And Power Girl.
Power Girl.
The Kryptonian Power Girl.
Oh! God, like, at least 3 of those are terrifying.
I actually made it funnier than I intended because the guy who did Harley Quinn, he finished so early in the time frame, he actually started to do all the red fill-in he could.
Uh-huh.
And it looked like Harley Quinn was on some kind of disc or something. And I said, dude, it looks like instead of actually giving her cosmic power, Harley Quinn found the Silver Surfer, beat him to death, and took his board. And he looked at the picture and said, yeah, that's what happened. So it was fun, but it's kind of hard to vamp for half an hour solid when you have no subject matter. You know? I also did get to talk to Michael Golden a bit. Michael Golden co-created Rogue. The X-Man Rogue. He was there at the inception of the character. He's listed an official co-creator, and believe it or not, he said that Rogue becoming an X-Man, that's all Chris Claremont. That wasn't what he had in mind at all.
Wow. Did he?
Yeah, he didn't say the story that Claremont made was bad. He just said that's not what he ever intended Rogue to be in his mind. He thought Rogue was going to be the ultimate villain.
Huh.
He put her up on the same echelon as like Magneto and Kang. He pictured her as eternally harassing the Avengers. Because there's one story early in her history where she had already stolen Carol Danvers' powers. She took on Captain America, the Vision, and Thor at once and beat them to a standstill until they tired her out.
Huh.
He also pictured her as being a 30-year-old woman. Apparently, Claremont's idea was to turn back the clock a little bit and make her a more vulnerable character. But as Golden put it, she was the ultimate villain. She has the abilities to take your abilities and turn them back on you.
Right.
You know, as strong as you are, she is that strong now.
Interesting.
So, like he said, he has no truck with what Claremont did. He took her in a completely different direction. That's fine, but that's just not what he intended when he created the character. And I was aghast. I'd never had that kind of inference before. I always thought it was kind of odd that she fought Avengers and then suddenly showed up on the Xavier doorstep. I never figured that out. But I just never pictured what Golden had in his head for the creation of the character.
Fascinating insight.
Yeah. And I got to talk to the creator of Lady Death, Brian Pulido, and got the news out of him that he's actively working right now with the showrunner of the Vikings TV show to make a Lady Death show. It's no longer a movie. He wants to make a serialized, like, streaming or cable network show.
Okay.
And if there is ever a character that would not make it to TV but will make it to cable, it's Lady Death.
Yeah.
She's the Viking. She is a Viking woman cursed by the avatars of, or she's cursed and became the living avatar of death.
Huh.
You've probably seen the image, but just don't know it. She's that ivory white woman from like head to toe. She wears like a black bikini with gold skulls, very long sword, sometimes on fire. She's been a fixture of pop culture since like the 90s. She even has a sideshow statue.
Huh.
So, you know, and that's just one part of the day. Tomorrow I have to start at 10 a.m. talking to Alan Bellman, one of the original Timely Comics Captain America artists. I have to talk to Neil Adams, who's one of the quintessential Superman artists. I have to talk to John Romita Jr., who's been like everywhere in Marvel and some parts of DC. That's the first half of my day. So, I mean, I'm hoping tomorrow with Jesse and Steve's help we'll get some more photos and some more generalistic stuff, because it sounds like I'm going to spend another 6 to 7 hours solid talking all day. Hopefully this time I can actually fit in food. Because as much as I felt good coming out of it, as soon as I sat down, I remember being a little miserable waiting for the show to close. I was not the friendliest person at that point.
No.
You know, I had used up all my social energy. So, I mean, what do you guys think of the show so far? Or have you seen anything?
Definitely a step better than what we had last year, considering it it was the first year of con, so you had to be a little bit more forgiving for that.
Right. I think
there is a step up and in the right direction for something greater.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger. It's definitely brighter. It's an actual convention center and not just a sports center this time.
Yep.
And it feels like a convention. It feels like a well-rounded convention.
Yeah.
I just wish I could speak better to attendance, because again, I've spent most of the day in between four walls without a view of the outside world. I went in and it was bright and sunny. I came out and it's dark. So I don't have much of a concept as to how the attendance has been. But so far the reviews seem to be positive. Now, I have found a few things on the floor that'd be great to own.
Yeah, Goldman's offering a really good deal on a signed comic.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. It's an actual X-Men book, right?
I believe so, yes.
It's just wicked. And supposedly Bob Layton agreed to the idea of getting me a sketch, so I'm rather excited to get that in my book.
Nice.
Cool.
You know, even if it's the only one I get, that's a get. So, and I'm building.
It's gonna be Iron Man.
I don't know if I could ask for that, you know. And Layton's a funny guy to talk to, because he didn't create Tony Stark, but by the time he and his partner came on to Iron Man, they begged to take the Iron Man book, because apparently Iron Man was about 3-4 months from being canceled. They turned the character around because they fixed Tony Stark's heart, because they were tired of him having a heart attack every time he got challenged. And they created his actual weakness as alcoholism. They're responsible for the Demon in the Bottle storyline. You know, the central story of Tony Stark's alcoholism. That's their creation. And Layton actually had stories of being on the set of the original Iron Man, talking to Robert Downey Jr., palling around with him. And the two of them would love to do that storyline, But the problem is that the demon in the bottle is a bit too dark for the tone that Marvel has set overall, which I understand. You know, dealing with Tony Stark's alcoholism would take things to a pretty dark place. And the closest they were allowed to get after a lot of begging was adding the drunkard scene in Iron Man 2.
Gotcha.
Could make for a good autobiography for Robert Downey Jr. though.
I wish I was drunk Tony Stark. No, it's a cool idea. I wish I could see in celluloid, but I agree with Leighton that it's very likely it will not happen.
Obviously, Marvel has the option to do it as an animated feature, but yeah.
Yeah, even then, they'd be kind of gilding the lily.
Their animated features have really not been that great.
No, but I mean, tomorrow I'm looking forward to some new stuff, and you guys will have links to every panel we've hosted pretty soon in audio form. We don't have video this year, but there will be a lot to chew through. So I guess that's about it for now.
All right.
Because there's still work to be done tomorrow, and it's nearly midnight. I still need a shower and sleep.
Is it really that late?
Yeah, it is. So I do need to cut this short. Thank you very much. We have discussed that next week we'll be talking Doctor Strange, the film.
Yes.
We're going to get around to doing that now that everyone's seen it. We've had a couple of weeks to chew it over. So next week we're back to multimedia, and the week after, I think after that, we'll do the Tom King Batman, like the first 5-6 issues.
Okay.
I have been looking forward to this.
And see how his... Let's see if he can make a crazy billionaire as scary as a single android.
No, it wasn't just the single android.
He was the murderous one, though. Thank you.
Not really.
He would have done it. His wife just beat him to it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. She killed 3 people in the series.
He's still murderous.
Killed none.
All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. I invite you to roll with us again next week. It'll be the movie Doctor Strange. Have a good one. I am Jeremy.
Steve?
And Jesse.
Don't jerk and drive. Please don't do it in Vegas either. Take care.
Don't piss on the sidewalk.
I did that once. Once.